too grave, the challenge too urgent, and the stakes too high to permit the customary passions of political debate. We are not here to curse the darkness, but to light the candle that can guide us through that darkness to a safe and sane future. What is that paragraph really saying? The paragraph is saying two things, in my opinion. There's a crisis. There is an urgent threat. And whereas maybe in more peaceful times, we could pick it apart. We could go back and forth. We could iron things out verbally. But the passage says that things are too urgent to permit the customary passions of political debate. You want to know what stage we're at and where my head is at, having been at this for 15 years and having been trying to wake people up and find ways of communicating this? You know where I'm at right now? I'm at the point where I'm hearing the left more than maybe you're hearing them. And what I'm hearing them say, debate is over. We will not talk to you. You are not even a part of humanity. I'm hearing them say that. Maybe a lot of people aren't, because they continue to want to engage and debate and split hairs and reframe their arguments so that the left might understand. I'm telling you right now, they're finished trying to understand. They know the world they want, and we are not allowed in it. So we need to drop it on our side with the technically, that's cultural Marx. Technically, that's postmodern. Technically, this has been going on for 100 years, not 50 years. Just, guys, we're in a war. Okay, a news item that ties into this.
Technically, we're at war. So I thought I'd make a vid about Polly, because she's like lots of people. She can't articulate what's going on, right? And because it's entirely offensive what's going on, right? And so we react like that, right? And what she's described is people that are replicating the function of anxiety. Because those things she says is that we aren't welcome in their world. You know, this has all got this. This is what it is. It is the replication of the function of anxiety. Because that's what anxiety wants. It wants everyone to shut up, and it wants to make new culture for everyone. You know, it wants to get everybody running around doing things they wouldn't normally do to achieve power. Okay, and this is what's going on. This is the whole point of the immigration thing and the left. Okay, it's not about money. Okay, it's not about money. And actually, at the moment, right? Well, in the moment, it's not about power or control either. It's about achieving, in that format of the entire nation, right, or the Western world, the perception that they are the authority. Okay, it's the theatre of that. Because they used to think the immigration thing into Europe there from Syria, they wanted to reboot their economic equation, which invariably is their political equation as well, by bringing in a whole lot of people that would take on debt, because we've become too prosperous. And so this is why it's very important to acknowledge the fact that the central bank in the West is flat broke, actually. Otherwise, they wouldn't have printed money for 15 years. I mean, maybe they printed money for 15 years because they wanted to maintain their economic position without spending any of their money, which is actually all of our money. It's all wealth that has been created by the middle class by physical labour, right? And And so they've replicated this to appear that they are the authority. And this is what Polly, she's buying into it, man. She's buying into it like people do when they have an anxiety event in their mind. Okay, now this can be a real anxiety event or a simulated anxiety event, because when they announce that there's going to be, there's something really bad going on, like whenever the media come up with something, it's to send a chilling effect through society, right? And that's primarily what it's about. And the economics of it is that it puts you've got, basically it causes a retraction of consciousness. Okay, the collective retraction of consciousness. Because when that happens, you think everyone knows that, right? And so you start engaging with people at that level, being careful of their sensibilities and their feelings, right? You instinctively go into it like you think they all know, right? And this is how the chilling effect works. It gives the impression that they've told all of society this. Actually, I would say at best only half of society watches any news. Okay, mostly, most people really only take a cursory interest in these. Look, I read a newspaper and I only read the headlines. And but Polly's, she's doing the typical thing that consciousness does when it's infected with anxiety, and you buy into their story. They're telling you. You're thinking that you're thinking that this event that is materializing before your eyes is real, when actually it's not. It's a theatre to get you to to force your consciousness to contract. That is what it is. And that's actually the true economy of the political, because consciousness is the truth of us. We are consciousness, man. And so that's what I've got to say about that, man. It's like, so that's a bad thing. So the thing is, she says it's time now. We shouldn't, in the video there, if you watch it, yeah, it's time now. We've got to draw lines in the sand, man. We've got to actually, of course that's true. Now, this is the decision that's made in any situation, down from the individual level, where you make a decision about your own anxiety about something, that's just appeared totally irrationally in your mind, to the family unit and the group, and then to the community. That we've got to draw battle. Well, of course, man, and the media are the primary problem, because they keep replicating the function of anxiety by promoting that anxiety as wisdom. Okay, and that's what they do. And so what they're talking about with this new immigration, pact, this is the same thing. It's to give the whole collective population a chilling effect. Okay, it's non-binding. Great evidence of this is this talk Trump had in the White House with Schumer and Pelosi. All the medias have been saying, oh, there was a shouting match in the White House. Actually, it wasn't a shouting match at all. Okay. And so that they would refer to it as a shouting match while you haven't actually seen it. Okay. This is replicating the function of anxiety by promoting anxiety as wisdom, because they're telling it to you that it's much worse than it actually was. And this is an obvious replication of anxiety, right? And so while courage acknowledges that their promotion of anxiety as wisdom, courage acknowledges anxiety, that makes anxiety, the promotion of anxiety as wisdom, politically credible. And while you engage with them about what they're doing, then that means the simulation is high quality, man. You've created a, Polly has played a role in the completion of the high quality simulation of the event of anxiety. By the two halves, you've got the promotion of anxiety as wisdom, and then you've got the belief in that it is credible. Okay? And so what I would suggest is to stop thinking that the promotion of anxiety as wisdom is politically credible. And I would start speaking directly to those who are causing all this, which is the big corporates. The big corporates, right? They're not big corporates. They're not big corporates. Let me explain the corporate to people, okay? The big corporates are a lot of people together in a collective group, but this big group of people are not the corporate, okay? Then there's the business of the corporation, right? What they do, the service they provide or the products they provide, right? Okay? Actually, still, that is not the corporate, okay? Corporate, as far as what Polly is talking about and what many normal 99%ers talk about, right, is actually the perception of this body according to the anxieties one might have about it. Okay, so the corporate is like the media. The media act like a corporate, right? And so they are a big group of people, right, that are just people. They are just people. And they have the same perception of reality than everyone else who is complaining about the corporate have. They have the same. They're the same people. They are the same people. And it's because that anxiety is actually culture shocked into existence by the event of birth to a baby that does not possess language. Every single one of these people in this whole world was once a baby. They had a culture shock experience of being born while they did not possess language, right? And so you get all of us out here, the working class, right? We're us, we're Polly, right? And then you get all these media types and all the corporate types and all the government types, rah-de-rah. Actually we're all cut from the same cloth in regards to that experience, right? And that we have consciousness. And consciousness acknowledges anxiety. In that regard, we're all the same. It's just this format is different, right? And so these corporate types, these elites, right, they think they want to rule the world, man, well, they're only doing what everyone else does, okay? They're only doing what everyone else does because we all seek to make our world better. If it's just at home, we seek to make our world better, and we might like to make some nice artwork, or we might like to create something, or we might like to mow the lawn, or we might like to build a fence and have a nice front fence. And we all go about this. Every time mum cooks a meal, she's trying to make the world a better place. Thus is the love of consciousness. Now these elites are just doing the same thing, man. They are just in that format. They are trying to make their world a better place. Okay? And so the best means to change is actually just to admit consciousness is real. Because that's why we're doing this, is the aspirations of consciousness while hijacked by anxiety. And once you're a baby that does not possess language, you may well have the experience where you start to believe that anxiety is wisdom, because it keeps you safe. It's the two perspectives. If you think anxiety, consciousness believes anxiety is wisdom because it causes us to learn, and it creates wisdom about being safe and things, right? But in the political sphere, people that believe anxiety is wisdom generally replicate the function of anxiety, right? And they go about control. They develop a compulsion to control. And so the whole bullying thing, which is probably something that's come up in other countries, it's a bit. They just did this. They've done a bullying thing in New Zealand recently with the government. It's laughable, right? It amounts to just a whole lot of words that end up with the definition, just don't do it. And but bullying is people who are trying to control others by coercion, which is a replication of anxiety. And the reason they're doing it is because they believe that anxiety is wisdom. And so this is all that's going on, like what Polly is talking about, and all these little events that have led up to this. Because remember, there's only a finite amount of things the establishment can do to keep replicating the function of anxiety. It's like they think anxiety is wisdom, so that's why they have no memory, and that's why they feel they have to keep asserting themselves, like the high fuel prices in France. They know that most of the public haven't got enough money. You've got high fuel prices and taxes. They know the outcome that this is going to cause. They know that. They know this. They're doing it to get that outcome. They're doing it to get a big riot started, because anything that takes the public focus off them and keeps it focused on anxiety, that helps them. Okay, that helps them, right? And so this is what anxiety does. It doesn't matter what it is. You know what? The first thing that anxiety will try and do is change the subject. If you approach anxiety to communicate with anxiety, the first thing that anxiety will do is try and change the subject. And I've seen people so skilled at this, they can change the subject within a sentence. They can start the sentence by talking about what you're talking about, and then in the middle change the subject that you're talking about, and by the end of the sentence they've actually made it your fault as well. Okay, so I've looked, that's happened to me, man, and so that's what I've got to say about that. And so this is the thing about it. So when the public get the revelation of the 8 laws, then anxiety will not be politically credible anymore, and then the behaviour of the elites will completely change. Okay, because the only reason they're doing that, the only thing that they value has value is because of what we value. Okay? And this is the thing. Okay? If you want to devalue money in the political sphere, you have to make something of more value than that, of more value than money, right? And so if you read the revelation of the 8 laws on my Facebook page, right, and the video, The Cry for Evolution Answered, right, you will have the means to reboot, do a clean install of the original operating system of your soul. And that's the truth, man. And that's what I've been telling people. Being aware of the revelation of the 8 laws will give you virtual superpowers compared with people who are not aware. you will see this is true. And so yeah, it's an amnesty. Revelation of the Outlaws is an amnesty, because all those elite people doing what they're doing, it's no different to the Nazi school teacher, you know, it's no different to a lot of people, man. It's no different to how little street criminals do criminal things just to look cool. It's exactly the same thing. And so, much love to Polly. She's really committed. And that's consciousness, man. She's throwing a lot in with consciousness, man. You know, that is super cool, eh? So, we are at war. Because anxiety makes war on us.